There are some sounds in spoken English, and let's say specifically spoken American English, that I would like to call sustained vibration sounds. Now, what are those sounds? Well, we're going to talk about three. One is v, one is zh, and one is z. I say vibration sounds because you're vibrating the sounds inside your mouth. All voiced words that use your voice here, your voice box, all of those are, in a sense, vibrating. The vibration is here, right? But when I say vibration sounds here, we're talking about something vibrating in your mouth, either the tongue against something, and then your voice going through that. Or maybe your teeth together, and then your voice going through that. Okay, we'll talk about these with words as examples, but I want to make it really clear because it's a common issue for people learning English, whether it's British English or American English or whatever. These sounds. In some languages, the Z sound, for example, is very harsh, very hard. It's a th, 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 th. Now, the Z sound is probably easy for you French speakers out there. But for a lot of people, that Z sound either sounds like or the J sound. It's neither. So we got to get it right. Now, the reason I use the word sustained means you're able to continue it. And the reason I mention that is because that's the most important part of it. That's the thing that makes it what it is. When we say Z, the thing that makes it not J, is the sustain part, that it can sustain or continue going for several seconds. Right? It can go for 10 seconds. All of the ones that we're going to talk about today can be carried on for several seconds. 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It doesn't matter. That's an important thing to remember. If you can't say them for 10 seconds, it's wrong. Or at least it's not clear enough, probably. Here I'm not only talking about American English. This is true for English in general, whether you're talking about British English, American English, Australian English, Canadian English, whatever. Okay? So let's go through these. We're going to start with the Z sound, the sustained Z sound, which is Z. And notice I can carry it a long time. It's not E, it's not E, it's not Z, Z, Z or Z, Z. It's none of those things. So let's just talk about what to avoid. When we say the long, this sustained Z sound, don't touch your teeth together. Zzz. My teeth are slightly apart. Zzz. Zzz. They're not. Zzz. It's not together completely. When you say it, you're going to push your tongue up toward the roof of your mouth, but not completely closed off. You're still getting some air coming out, but not much. And you should feel your tongue vibrating. Zzz. Zzz. Now, the sides of the tongue are pushed up completely against the roof of your mouth, but the front of your tongue is the part that's vibrating right behind your teeth. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Now, if this is too sharp and it sounds like zzz, 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 that means that your tongue is actually closing off the airflow. You don't want it to close off the airflow. That's a mistake. That's the hard Z sound, which may be a sound in other languages. Z, 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 z. That's when the tongue comes up from the top of the roof of the mouth and then down and then back up. Avoid that, okay? Now, we also want to avoid making it too open. If it's too open, it just sounds like the E sound. You just get the voice from your voice box back here, from your vocal cords, okay? So it's a very delicate thing. But your test should be, can I continue that sound for 5 seconds? Can we do it? Zzz. Good. All right. That might have been faster than 5 seconds. So let's try a couple words. Buzzing. Buzzing. Now you might say, wait a second. That Z is very short. Yes, I know. But the point is that it's not buzzing. Buzzing. It's buzzing. The sound is the same. And the reason I ask you to sustain it is to get the sound right. Once we have the sound right, then we can make it short. That's fine. We can make it very short. That's great. But we have to get the sound right, because otherwise it's going to be budzing, which we want to avoid. That sounds like there's a D in the word or something. We want to avoid it. Zoom. Very, very popular and relevant these days, right? We need to say this word a lot. One of the common mistakes for this one is to say zoom, 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 zoom. Hear the difference? Zoom, zoom, zoom. It should be that long sound, but you can shorten it, but you should be able to stretch it out if you want to. Okay, next one. At the end of a word, rise, rise. Now notice this is the S, but it's still the Z sound. Rise, rise, rise. You can carry it long if you want to. All right, so that's the Z. Now let's talk about that zh sound that's difficult for a lot of people. The zh. Okay. The first thing we have to do is say what it isn't. It isn't J. J is j, 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 j. So the mouth position is very similar to J, 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 except J releases j, j, right? It changes, whereas j doesn't release. It stays the same. It's flat. The mouth position is very, very close, except there's no release. J. It's not like that. That's how we say J, right? We release it. We throw it out there, and then it's done. We can't sustain the J sound, but we can sustain a similar mouth position that doesn't release. Okay, so we try a few words. Oh, by the way, avoid making it too open, just like we did with Z. If it's too open, then we would say, that's just R, basically. So it's close to R, but the tongue is coming up further. Notice if I move my tongue up after the R sound, it becomes the Z sound. It's just closer to the roof of my mouth. Closer. Okay, let's try a few words with this one. Usually. That's the classic one, right? You should be able to stretch it long if you need to. Usually. Usually. Okay? How about decision? Decision. 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 Again, decision. Genre. Genre. Now this is a G. Same thing. Genre. 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 Again, you should be able to stretch it long if you want to, but that doesn't mean that you do that in the word itself. All right. Now, we've covered two so far. We have one left to go, and that one is V. Now, the mistakes with V are sometimes that it's too hard, like how we talked about the V and the J sound being J, right? So sometimes people say it's too hard, but the most common issue is probably that it gets mixed up with W, right? So the mouth shape is simple, but we got to remember it and do it every time. Bottom lip to top teeth. And you should feel a strong vibration in your bottom lip. If you don't feel that strong vibration, it might sound like ooh, like there's just air coming out of your mouth. That's not right. It's got to be a strong vibration of air coming through your teeth, vibrating the bottom lip. And a little bit of wind as well. We want some air flowing through so that it makes that sort of wind noise. Okay? Be careful not to make the W sound. Got to be very, very careful about that one. Okay, a few examples. Love. Love. Now, could we just say love? Love. Love. Sounds the same, right? Love. 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 Oh. No. We have to make the V at the end. Love. And we should be able to continue it long if we need to. Love. I know that sounds weird, but it's a good way to practice. If you want to practice any of these, practice stretching out that sound very long. All right? How about visit? Visit. Visit. Be careful not to say visit. That's different. Visit. 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 Okay? How about remove? Remove. Remove. Now this one is harder for people because you have to bring it back after the M. Move. Move. V. And you should be able to make it long if you want to. Move. I know it sounds weird, but that's the basic idea. And that's how you practice it. You practice it by making it long, by sustaining it. Then you get into the habit of doing it correctly so that when you speak, then it comes out naturally. Even though it's not always going to be that long, right? It comes out naturally by itself, okay? Hopefully those 3 are clear. You have to practice them a billion times until they become habits for you. Once they become habits, then you don't have to think about it when you're speaking, which is good, all right? So if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you follow or subscribe. Check out my courses in the links in the description. And again, comments if you're not sure about any of this. Comments. All right.